Observationalism. So I recently had a conversation with my brother-in-law about what he called observationalism and the slit test conducted by quantum scientists that proves that all phenomena in the material world is merely in a state of flux between real and not real, depending on how it is observed by humans, creatures, or souls or what have you. In the sense of the old saying that when a tree falls in the woods, when nobody is around to hear it, does it not make a sound? I recall a time with my old friend Neil when I had just come out of hospital for the first time and were at my dad's house. We would often talk about observationalism, which we simply called observation. I recall there was a chair on the balcony or something similar, and when we went downstairs to smoke a cigarette, when we returned, the chair was no longer there. When we both drew attention to the fact, we looked back and the chair was suddenly there again. We both said the word observation at the same time as we understood that it was our acknowledgement of the glitch in the so-called matrix of life that caused the programming to conform to our view and fix itself. Similarly, when I was in hospital, most recently, I had a friend named Mohammed who was preaching the benefits of a hallucinogenic drug named DMT. He said that it was so good that you could be sitting on a sofa, stand up, and there would inexplicably be a cat sitting in your seat. Now, this sort of supernatural occurrence can only be justified by the observer of the cat being removed from the overlaying arc narrative of the universe. The explanation to this could be something as harmless as the fact Muhammad was so high and his faculties were working so slowly that he didn't notice the cat jump into his seat after he stood up. Or something as horrific as the fact that he was so high that he was temporarily paralyzed from the waist down and didn't feel that he was sitting on a poor cat all along. Be that as it may, in order for any of these options to be the truth, an additional observer would have to perceive Mohammed looking stoned out of his brain and come to their own conclusion of what was going on in their shared realities. When I first explained narrativium to my friend Neil, I posed him a question. If you're waiting for a bus, what do? He said he visualizes his bus pulling up at the bus stop and uses his imagination to paint the picture of it in his mind. I corrected him and said, yes, that is what he does internally. But externally, he also paints a picture with his actions. By staring down the street, checking his watch constantly, and pacing back and forth. This gives observers of him a clue into what he is manifesting in his mind using quantum physics, and brings more power to his goal of making the bus arrive. He has to paint a narrative to his observers to take his desires from a state of fake to real. Observation is everything. So in answer to the question I posed in the beginning of this chapter, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's around to hear it, does it make a sound? The answer is no, because if there's nobody in the woods, the tree doesn't exist at all.